I like the way this feel. Yeah. Let my soul cry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Minister, we gonna speak from the heart on this one. I'm performing lyrical funerals, no obituary. I killed your boy and brought him back to life. Pet cemetery. My anointing not based on attendance at a seminary. Scarlet witches, they attracted to the visionary. Everywhere I go, I bring the word with me, missionary. Soldier drafted in the war machine, military. Pay attention, what I'm saying to you, legendary. You got the demeanor of a front desk secretary. That mean you take the calls, but you don't make the calls. That's why you hate, cause ain't nothing fake about me at all. Now I dare you try to say that with a straight face. My delivery in tip-top, great shape. I'm too advanced for you, light years, space age. No evolution for you cavemen, stone age. I'm a thoroughbred, rock solid. I came from the bottom to the top, rock climbing. I grew up in the hood, pros and cons. That's that full court pressure when the amalanche roll out that stretch. Why can't you see it's not logical if you live diabolical? Boy, your point of view smaller than the hair follicle molecule. This for all of them that follow you, smoking all of them barbecue. When I pull up, your voice on correct itself with no auto-tune. I got a whole nother level that I can enter whenever I gotta deal with the devil. I pick a whole nother method. I hear a whole lot of yapping. They wanna see my reaction. Really out here in the community making it happen. I don't really think they understand the dilemma. They ain't looking in the man in the mirror. I can't say it any clearer. The plan is very simple. It's time to start playing in the temple. Before somebody come and put the can on your temple. Reaching like a baby with his hand for the nipple. The Grand Reaper coming with his hand on the circle. In the van coming with a ram with it. When the van come and get him. I am so glad that I changed up. Made it out of where I came from. Watch for the slide and the hook of the slow ball, fastball, and that change up. That ghetto lifestyle, it changed us. Go back to visit, it ain't changed much. Only difference is now the way that my brain process information. And Satan, but after my license, day one, let me say something. Only reason that I'm still alive today because God's grace is amazing. Just another raisin in the sun. Dream deferred when things occur. Now you getting served right on the curb like a lemonade stand. I just gave you the benediction, let the whole church say amen.
Minister Yakoba.
Yeah, this was a great discussion. I know I came in hours late. But, you know, one thing I want to say is, you know, being gaslighted for many years, and, you know, and if y'all noticed lately, I've been on Eurocentric Christianity lately, is because, you know, when you start reading scripture, you realize that what they taught us is a lie or a half truth, which makes it a lie, right? And even the whole idea of, you know, you should feel bad defending yourself or defending your family, what you know instinctively to do, they tell you is wrong, and that you shouldn't hate the evil that's done to you, but love the evil people who are doing it to you. Does that make sense? Even the animals protect their own, right? Even the animals protect their own. But we've been so brainwashed. We're supposed to turn the other cheek because they took that scripture out of context. And then they hate us and tell us we crazy and we're in a cult, because the natural thing is to protect your own and defend your own. Even your ancestors did the same thing in the scriptures, right? They went in there and took out them whole nations of people because they were evil and doing wicked and attacking Israel and the Amalekites and all this stuff. But then that don't matter no more, right? I'm like, you know, this whole thing it's about family. And if you don't protect your family, you're worse than an infidel. And that don't just mean your immediate family. That means all of you all right here today, all of the Israelites, right? The Negroes, right? I ain't talking about the 12 tribes chart, right? it makes sense that you take care of your own. And if you continue to allow people to brainwash you, because one thing, and I'm gonna say this, and I mean, I was watching Berean because some stuff was going on over there. And I mentioned this before, how Shafter Berean, at 1 minute he was a Christian, then he was an Israelite, now he a Christian again. They got the dude confused, right? He's confused. And what instinctively is to protect your own and to look after your own and protect your family, and then if you take care of your house first, then you let everybody else in. When Yeshua came, what did he say? I come but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Why? Because that's family. I take care of family first. They
that's
didn't
interesting. Yakoba, they're accepting European jury, but they're kicking him out because of this whole DNA conversation. Some of them want to go, and I'm not knocking, I'm not knocking anybody, but they're kicking him out because they're saying, for some reason he thinks, oh, my DNA doesn't match. That's so sad.
That's
so sad.
It's crazy. What I missed? Who?
It's about Shafter Berean.
Oh, okay.
They got that dude confused.
Very, and I feel so bad for him. Honestly, my heart goes out to Shafter Berean because he's being pushed every which way, and nobody's noticing that this brother is just seeking information. I ain't even mad at Shaft anymore. I used to be irritated by him, but honestly, yesterday he was asking some questions, and someone came attacking him because he was asking a simple question. I saw some of it. And I said that I had to cut it off because it made me sick to my stomach. But this man is so confused because they telling him, you don't have this haplotype. You ain't a part of the group. But they accepting everybody else. And now this brother's like, I'm not Israel, y'all. Yes, you are. I want to tell him, you are Israel. Don't let these folks tell you you not.
Exactly.
I need to talk to him because I'm like, don't you let anybody tell you you're not Israel.
That was really sad, Sister E, because, he like, yeah, my DNA say I'm not. I'm like, see, these people didn't mess y'all up. Leave the
that
DNA
was
alone.
The purpose of them DNA fools.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason they exist, is to use DNA as a weapon, not to prove who Israel is, but for them to choose who they dictate is Israel.
You know what? I don't care. You know what? I'm dropping this whole thing because I'm not dropping. You get what I'm saying? If that brother he is part of diaspora, period. Diaspora. I'm sorry, I'm country. Diaspora. If he is Israel, and I want to tell him so bad, and I hope he's watching this, bruh, you are Israel. Don't you let anybody tell you, because he's so confused, and they let him go too, and they would rather for him to say he's not than he is, and don't even understand what we're saying. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, I'm so mad at how they doing that, brother.
And see, that's the thing is as I mentioned before, and I'll end it here, Brother Karras, is that the devil has set traps at every corner, out of every door, right, of the awakening. And there's the DNA guys, there's the Christian guys, the urban apologist guys, there's the Kemet guys, there's all of these different traps for when you're coming out of the deep sleep, coming into the awakening, to lead you astray, to lead you to Mormonism, to lead you to all foolishness. And this is where we at today. It's like at the greatest of the awakening is the greatest of the deception. I
don't want to say this group is a joke because I don't want to get curious, put on the hot seat, but I'm going to say it, curious. YAP is a joke. They are deceptive, and they are
full of the Sister E. I'm with you on that.
I ain't scared. The thing is, they think because I've been silent that I'm scared. I've been silent because I'm focused on other things as it pertains to our community, that I put my sword down for a second, but understand that my sword ain't down because I'm scared. Understand that. So if they watch and let them know, because I'm sitting silent don't mean that I'm scared. See, they got the right one with me. I don't care nothing about those. They are, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
See why I roll with Sister
breathe.
E and Sister Chantel? That's my sister there. Y'all see?
Man, I'm sitting here like, y'all think, y'all walking around. Okay, Kira, I ain't finna get you put on the hot seat. I'm finna be quiet. I'm gonna go rant later. I'm gonna rant later.
Yeah, do it on your channel. You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm trying to coordinate.
Okay, I'm gonna be nice. But understand that a tisk, tisk, tisk is coming very soon. And I be quiet now because I'm gonna be nice.
All right.
Yeah, peace and blessings, family. Hold up. I'm hearing some weird audio popping off right quick. Trying to make sure it's not popping off for y'all. Here we go. I think the video clip is on loop for a second. Yeah, peace and blessings, family. It's your brother Taiwan Swindon, aka the Orthodox Mo. Wishing you all peace and blessings and whatnot. I really don't like having to do videos like this, particularly on a repeat type situation. But it's becoming imperative that there is a modus operandi that needs to be identified. So a quick disclaimer, Sister E, I got no issue with you. I know you don't like me calling you sis. So if I slip up and do so in the midst of this video, please understand it's not out of disrespect. It's just out of the simple concept of I am still your brother, whether you're not my sister or not. I'm always going to be your brother. I'll do my best to call you apologist E, because I know you're trying to market yourself as an apologist at the moment and whatnot. And I'll try to respect that as much as possible. But as an apologist, I have something to take issue with. I got to take issue with the consistent application of fallacious argumentation when dealing with me and mine, particularly the YAP gang, etc. There's literally no need for it. I don't understand the need for it. You're somebody who's trying to present yourself to the public as someone who's about open dialogue and having a talk show, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yet you're seeming to stifle what could be good dialogue. Going back almost a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned a conversation. You mentioned dealing with me and Tay and whatnot, and trying to take that conversation off of the public airwaves or whatnot, when that was a good conversation for the public to hear. I was doing with them like I had done many times with multiple people. Doing what you're actually attempting to do, or what you're saying you're attempting to do, I've done multiple times successfully with no issue, no hiccups. Trying to bring clear dialogue to the people about what people believe. I had the Tail Twins on twice, talking about their views on autosomal DNA. I made multiple videos concerning that topic and discussion with them, etc. And breaking down that it would be a good idea to have open dialogue in the public so people can be clear about what's being said and people can learn from the different models being presented, etc. People can compare and contrast and make their own minds up, etc. Right? And then you jumped on. And even in your video you're talking about, you're trying to take this conversation off here. A conversation that the brothers agreed to have, that I agreed to have. A conversation to where it was shown, the receipts are shown, to where you can see the link below to where this is the part 2. You can go back to the part 1 to where all the receipts are shown, to where they're asking again. I invite them to come on. They decide to come on, and they not only decide to come on, they ask me to ask every single solitary question that I raised in a previous video and to go through all the points. And we're going through all that stuff. You don't see me lose character at any point in that conversation. I have that conversation the same way with them that I have with Elder Mike, Alton Johnson, etc. Go down the list. Go down the list. And if you go look at the previous video, there's a bunch of accusations that you make towards me that are fallacious, that are false, flat on their face, that are provably and verifiably false, that you didn't come out and apologize for, that you didn't come out and correct the information on, none of that type of stuff. And I'm saddened because I'm here again. I was just on my channel promoting your channel, promoting a debate on your channel, and I'm now I gotta be over here addressing this thing. Yeah? And I really wish I didn't have to, because there's no reason for you to consistently be doing the same thing, particularly when you didn't clear up the stuff from the last time. There's no need for it. You already talking about that we told Shaft the Berin that he wasn't Israel, that we kicked him out of Israel, that we told him he wasn't Israel based upon his DNA. What are you talking about? That we would rather that he would say he's not Israel? What are you talking about? Sis, I need you to substantiate that some way, shape, or form. Because none of that happened in reality. Nowhere. And you definitely can't just talk I'm supposed to take your word for it, because again, as previously stated, you don't have any credibility on the issue, sis. You keep making false claims about people that you don't back up. And then people keep providing the receipts to such, and you say nothing. So you can't just talk like you have a lot of credibility on the issue. No, now you got to start showing some receipts, sis. Where did anybody from YAP gang contact Shaft of Brand and say, you know what, you're not Israel based upon your DNA? None of that happened. Shaft's been asking us to look at his DNA for the longest, particularly me. And you know what? He was saying, like, whenever I get my DNA, we look at it. I said, yeah, sure, why not? We were just up on Brand's looking at Jordan's DNA with it, right? Breaking it down for him. Breaking down his autosomal, breaking down his haplogroup, etc. When Shaft asked me to look at his DNA, again, people ask us that all the time. But what's interesting here is we never got to see his DNA. He never showed it to us, sis. Never showed it to us. He didn't even show it to the public on Bereans. He didn't tell the people what his haplogroups were. He didn't tell the people what his autosomal DNA were. He didn't show any pictures of none of that type of stuff. Sean Harris was literally in the chat asking, hey, what you have? Nothing, no responses. We're not on panel with Shaft at all, talking about his DNA at all with him, at all. We're not on Facebook talking with Shaft about his DNA. Like, you can't see this anywhere. You know what you can see? You can see Shaft himself taking himself up onto Beren's panel, looking at his DNA, telling the public that he has a European mother, and that he had a black father, and he was trying to figure out where to fit in on a lot of stuff, etc. And that based upon his DNA, he's saying he's not Israel. You can't put YAP nowhere in that. You know why you can't put YAP in that? A, because we didn't say it, and B, we don't do that to people. We don't even do that to the Teo twins. What? Yeah, I know you like to gaslight us like we do that, but no, we don't even do that to the Tail Twins, fam. You know why we don't do that to the Tail Twins? Because that's not part of our model. Like from day one, like you can hear me talking about and showing receipts on in the videos linked down below, etc. In the previous part 1 to this joint, you can see me breaking down the fact that me specifically, and you've heard YAP all over the place saying the same thing, that converts are Israel. That there's no issue with converts being classified as Israel. Y'all got an issue with that. And y'all got an issue with identifying as converts if by some way, shape, or form you're not part of the bloodline. That's not my issue. That's not YAP's issue. That's the issue with the Tail Twins. One more time, that's not my issue. That's not YAP's issue. That's the Tail Twins' issue. We've never said they can't be Israel. And no, listen to what you said. They're accepting European Jews, but they're kicking him out. Sis, I need you to substantiate that. Based upon what? What have you heard? What have you heard that makes you think that? Cite it. Show it to us. Don't tell me about it. Show it. Show it to us. Don't gaslight us. Show it to us. Because we've never said anything close to what you're talking about. Anything close to what you're talking about. So I regretfully am going to share my screen. This is not something that I was attempting to do or wanted to do or was looking to do. But if I'm going to keep running into the same problem over and over again, I'm going to do my best to efficiently solve it. And one of the quickest and best ways I know to solve a problem is to shed sunlight on it, right? Sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? Put things in black and white, make it plain. So if anything I'm about to show is not true, or the receipts for such were not in the videos previously shown down below, etc., let me know. Or if you need receipts for anything or they need to be provided, let me know. If you have receipts to the contrary, let me know. I'm gonna keep this short and simple. I don't want to belabor obvious and well-known points. So I'm gonna run through this super quick. So since this is your track record, this is your public track record, this is what you're being known for. You're being known for defending the Tail Twins when they made a fake haplogroup GMAP, trying to put themselves in the Levant, haplogroup-wise, where they're not. You defended them not fabricating the map in that they got it from Wikipedia when you know that wasn't the case. When it's verifiably not the case. That GMAP has never been on Wikipedia the way that they showed it, ever. And it's verifiable. You defended the Tail Twins when they made basic DNA mistakes in their conversation with me and even with Yeshua, etc., right? Because they made the same mistakes in the conversation with Yeshua and I. Not only did you defend them in making their mistakes, you said I was not wrong in what I did, and then continue to go on what you would call a campaign, going on other platforms, talking about it, making assertions about me, but not talking to me about it beforehand. I had to call you after you went on a couple of platforms, including your own, talking about this without talking to you. Again, all verified. All verified. If you want to provide some receipts to the contrary, you're more than welcome to, because you have not done so as of yet from the previous video. You defended the Tail Twins when they made a false prediction. I'm going to go into this one a little bit later, because you brought my name up in that situation again. Again. So you went after Blacktastic and falsely accused him of calling y'all a cult and whatnot, because he had a conversation about the 400-year prophecy, and you know that conversation was made relevant based upon a prediction that the Tail Twins had made, that Jacoby specifically had made while you were on panel with him, sis, where he specified in a couple of years, if this doesn't happen, not only am I going to say it's not the prophecy, I'm going to apologize. So that was brought up a couple of years later, a couple of years and a few months later, to be exact. He was reminded of such by Elder Mike, showing video evidence of said statement with you on panel, sis. With you on panel. So you can't pretend he didn't say it, because you're literally on panel with him, being shown on video with him as he's saying it. So when he's reminded he made the statement, he calls Elder Mike a liar. Elder Mike might be a lot of things. He's not a liar. I have yet to know the man to be a liar. I know him to be a decent dude. I know him to be a guy I disagree with on a few things, but I know him to be someone I deeply respect as well, because he's someone who took shots from Christians, because he was telling Christians that were telling us that we were going to hell because we had the nerve to call ourselves Israelites, that they were wrong for that. Instant respect. Instant respect. Someone's going to call him a liar real quick. They got to show me how he's lying. And so I saw that he showed the receipt. No, he wasn't lying. So what I do, I made a video addressing the whole thing. And again, in the video I put up the video in full context, because Taylor Yacob was claiming that it wasn't in context. And again, when you see that video in full context, you're all over that video. All over that video. So what? Every time you're out here saying, well, nobody claimed that Jesus was going to come. When they say, you know what? You're 100% right. No one said, they did not say that Jesus would come by a certain time period. Those exact words did not leave their mouth. But you know good and well that Yacob said that you would be gone. And in the tradition y'all rock with, that happens when the Messiah returns. Hold up. Jeez. Finger got trigger happy on me. You know, in your tradition, that happens when the Messiah returns. So taking Yacob fault, you know what they did? They did something respectable, sis. They falsified their belief system. They said, you know what? If this doesn't happen, I'll say, if this doesn't happen by a certain time, a couple of years, I'll say this wasn't the prophecy and that I was wrong. Instead of jumping in front of him, sis, and saying, nobody said that. No. Instead of doing the whole, oh, you're attacking me because you got the nerve to remind these people that they said these things in public with you there. Stop it. Like I said in my previous video, sis, I can't respect the woman who protects weak men. I can't do it. Like, if you came out and said and invited them to come out and actually like make the public apology that they said they would make for being incorrect, I would respect that 100%. People would respect you more. People would respect them a lot more. They wouldn't lose no followers over this type of stuff, over being honest. Who's going to lose respect for them for being honest or whatnot? Certainly not me. Certainly not me. But who should respect them for not being held accountable? Who should respect you for not holding them accountable? Sincere question. Why should people respect either one of you? Like, it's cool that you're loyal to each other. That's straight. But what's loyalty without accountability? What's loyalty without accountability? What's the point of it? What's the point of it? You defended Pastor Kelly when he was wrong about the Mandingo claims he was making with Garfield or whatnot. Wrong is 2 left feet. And again, sis, loyal to the end. I'm not mad at you. That is a very, very admirable quality about you, sis. But continually dying on them hills like that, again, Kelly couldn't have been more wrong. And you're being shown how wrong he was. And you're like, no, I'm still going to rock with Kelly. Okay, got you. You are loyal to the end. 10 toes down. What is the point of being loyal to a lie? Something that is not the truth. What is the benefit of being loyal to that? Now, if you're loyal to your mans and you bring an accountability to the situation, respect. Like, there's nothing wrong with either one of you saying, you know what, we got this source wrong. The Mandingos and the Luso Africans and Lanzados are they're two separate classes of people here in this literature. And the Luso Africans and the Lanzados don't want to be called Negroes in this literature because that's what they call these other people. Like, there's no fault in admitting where you're wrong and learning from it. But acting holier than now, going on the campaign as you claim, right? People are consistently knowing you for down on these hills, sis. Again, people know you for defending the existence of Dr. Katz. When you had, now we know you had your doubts at a 90+ percentile. Like I was saying in my previous video on this topic, in the part 1 of this whole thing, you're trying to make this thing a secret society, sis. Israel's not supposed to be a secret society. And in your secret conversations, you're saying stuff you're not saying in the public. You know what's different about what you're going to hear about me in the public versus the private? Absolutely nothing. with the exception of probably a bit more spicy language. Opinions don't change. Methodology don't change. I probably talk a bit more like a sailor when I'm offline. But I'm not going to say something different. I'm not going to be a different person. My opinion don't change, fam. I keep it consistent. That's why whenever the campaigns have been made against Moore, they don't work because I stay consistent. Show me being inconsistent. You got something. But like I kept saying in that video, sis, in the previous videos, when other people try to do it, you didn't give me my integrity. You can't take it away. Right? So if you're going to make claims against it, now you got to bring receipts. Now you got to bring receipts. Like, these are the receipts. This is what people know you for defending. The GMAT, the DNA mistakes, the false predictions, the Mandingo mess up, Dr. Katz. This is your resume. This is what people know you for now. People know you for defending the attacks being made on Issachar over the pews and whatnot. Issachar had the nerve, again, another person identifying as Israel, had the nerve to think independently about the pews and recognize, you know what? Probably most likely not Solatrail. And there's no evidence for such, and that the correspondence with the professors, etc., on the matter was skewed at best. But no, it's got to be a whole campaign against him. You, Dante, we walking out, everyone else, y'all going at him like fam. Like he's public enemy number one and whatnot. And then you'll have to take down a whole bunch of videos and whatnot. And the crazy part is in one of them joints, and I showed it in previous videos, y'all were getting at him for making the same claims that the Tail Twins were making. In terms of like names that can be used for God in West Africa. Taking shots at whole groups of people like it's nothing. Like this is the track record. And here's what's interesting, right? You were silent when I was falsely being accused of doxing Professor Yosef. And it was verifiably shown that I did not dox him. And in fact, the people accusing me of doxing him doxed him. Silent on that, you were. Silent when the Tail Twins were cursing and name-calling Ibri on your own channel. When he was calling him out over that fake GMAT. Again, you defend them cussing and acting a fool. Yet Ibri's in your daughter's generation. I promise you, if some dude was cussing out your daughter, you'd have something to say, sis. You'd have something to say. Silent when the Tail Twins accused Yeshua and I of idolizing DNA, making DNA our religion. And you know that's not the case. You knew that wasn't happening. Silent when the twins lied about my heritage and my beliefs. And all of that was verifiably false. And what was worse about the beliefs part, sis, is you knew from a personal conversation that I and Yehukanan had, where I broke down my belief system to you. It was answering questions for you, like I showed in the previous video. The receipts are all there. I break down in the previous video and show the receipts of you being there when I'm being interviewed by Dante. You and Tayu being there when I'm being interviewed on Dante about my beliefs. And I'm explaining it to people, etc. Right? That's the cold part. You knew better and you said nothing. You knew the man was innocent, but you said nothing in court. Silent when the Taylor twins lied on a name called Sister Shari, saying she's a rat, saying she's a white girl, all this other type of stuff. And you know she's none of that. She was the one who literally set up the meeting that you were at with the Taylor twins and whatnot, and the YAP gang, where the Taylor twins didn't want I or Yeshua to partake. You know she's not a rat. She had the integrity in that whole Mandingo conversation, because she was rocking what y'all was saying right off rip. In that Mandingo conversation, she was going to Garfield hard. Came on the panel talking all like in the chat, all that. And then came back on the panel and was like, oh man, I got this wrong. With integrity. No, I misunderstood what the argument was. With integrity. You know she has integrity. But you were silent when the twins were lying on her. Silent when you knew that when the twins were verifiably lying on a name calling route, right? Trying to lie about his DNA just like they did mine. He's more sub-Saharan African than they are, and they try to say, no, he's European or whatnot. Okay. Via what standard? Break down your standard and we'll see how it applies. You go autosomal? Nope. Haplogroup? Nope. But then you got to be a whole Edomite and whatnot, yeah? These are the same people that on the same on a stream that they had not too long ago, they're like, if the YAP gang was here, we'd be doing X, Y, and Z. Yeshua showed up and said, drop the link. They blocked your boy. Trying to do their best to came in with Tumbo impersonation. Yeshua wasn't being disrespectful, nothing. So what I'm saying, you can't expect me to respect a woman who defends weak men. That's all I'm saying. For instance, silent when they demand to see our DNA and won't show theirs. Just like they went on your show, again, verifiable. And prove me wrong. Prove me to be a liar. Because I got the receipts to the contrary. They went on your show and hid their DNA. Only showed you parts of it. Didn't show you the whole thing. Since we showed you all our DNA. And they won't sack up and show us theirs. And you know why they won't sack up, sis? They won't sack up because they know if they do, they're going to prove us right. You know, just like how we were talking with Jordan and we were able to predict what his trace DNA was going to look like, even though we didn't see what his trace DNA was. We had never seen his DNA before. Well, I was able to look at his haplogroups and tell him, based upon your haplogroups, I got a hunch. Bam, your trace DNA is going to look X, Y, and Z. And what did it look? X, Y, and Z. How about that? And just like I crunched the numbers and was able to figure out, you know what? These dudes is most likely haplogroup H, talking about the Taylor twins. They could easily disprove that. They could easily disprove that. But you know what? What if we're right? What if I'm right? The implications thereof. The implication, man. But again, this is your track record. This is what people know you for, sis. Again, addressed in the previous video and other places, you falsely accused me of trying to set up the Tail Twins. You falsely accused me of asking you to introduce me to Cohen Hamadishe. And receipts were shown to the contrary that you never challenged. Again, the same thing with the Tail Twins. Receipts were shown to the contrary. You never challenged. Falsely took credit for actually introducing me to Cohen Hamadishe. You're out in the public falsely taking credit for this stuff. And again, I secured my interview with him the same way I secured my interview with everyone else I've ever interviewed. And the funny thing is you. Now I'll bring it up in a second. But yeah, you're out there falsely taking credit for this stuff. And again, if you want to show like one receipt to the contrary, that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. But receipts were shown for all this stuff. And if I'm lying, just go click the link for the video down below. Go check out the part 1. Tell me I'm wrong. I might just run it back later. You falsely took credit for the meeting between YAP and the Tail Twins, sis. And again, verified. Sister Shari's the one that set that joint up. Verified. You falsely accused Yeshua of being at a meeting he did not attend. You falsely accused him of being at that meeting with the Tail Twins, and he was not there. You accused him of being there and then leaving, like he was angry about the thing and refusing to partake and whatnot. And the receipts were shown. He was nowhere in the vicinity. And you know what? The Tail Twins recorded the joint. It's their StreamYard. So if we're lying about the thing, again, receipts are easy to prove. But again, none have been shown. You falsely accused us of clout chasing when y'all tagged us in posts and whatnot. Again, shown here, shown in the previous videos and whatnot. The Tail Twins were tagging us. We're responding to them and whatnot. Again, like you're talking about us, I'm responding to you. Like the cloud chasing thing is hilarious because again, like so with the Cohen Hamadishe thing, again, you asked me to come on your joint. Again, receipts were shown for that. You asked me to come on your joint after I interviewed him. After I secured my own interview with him without you. Just like, so for instance, you had me come on your joint and debate the Limba DNA. Anyway, but that's me cloud chasing. Is you asking me to come on your joint. Got you. Falsely accused us of kicking Shaft the Brand out of Israel. Sis, please, you got to start showing some proof on this stuff. And you know what? I'll do you a solid, even though I know this ain't the case. So this is what you don't want me to do. You don't want me to say you possibly misunderstand something because you're going to take that as an insult to your intelligence, right? So if I don't do that, I got to assume you know our model and you're just lying about it, trying to misrepresent it. I have to assume that if I can't question how you understand this. But if you would allow me, I would prefer to think that you just don't understand what we're saying about DNA and probably need to hear us walk it out a little bit because you got tail in your ear and all that, not understanding what we're saying because they're pseudo as all hell when it comes to DNA. You can love them all day and still understand they're pseudo. How do you know they're pseudo? Again, you had me come on to talk about the Lemba DNA and debate that against the Christians, not them. How do you know that? Dante was asking me and Yeshub to come do a DNA talk at a conference. Again, that's not us cloud chasing. Man, that's not us cloud chasing. Again, you falsely accused us of telling Shaft the Barin he isn't Israel. you got to start showing some receipts with that for that joint. Like, I understand Baren took down the video. I'm sure you could ask him to put the video back up or whatnot, right? But there's no evidence in that video, outside of that video, anywhere of us telling Shaft that type of stuff. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. You falsely accuse us of being deceptive. Oh, excuse me, preferring that Shaft say he is in Israel. That one got me. Why on God's green earth would we prefer that anyone say that they're not Israel? What evidence do you have that we would say that we feel that way towards anybody? Much less Shaft. That we would prefer that? We would prefer he say that he's not versus he is. Here's the crazy part. Y'all act like he said he stopped believing in God or something. Y'all act like he said he stopped believing in the death, burial, and resurrection. Is that what he said? No, he just said he don't believe that he's of the bloodline of Abraham. Y'all are about to have a funeral and whatnot. It's crazy, fam. It's crazy, fam. And what's even more crazy is I would have loved to look at his DNA. Because you know what we don't say? Because again, check this out. This applies to me too. And I've said this a bunch of times, and the twins know this. I'm not E1B1A or E1B1B. And the model YAP adheres to, in the whole, like, so we believe that Shem is DE, and that the Israelites would be a derivative thereof, some subclade thereof, right? Most likely a subclade of E, right? Based upon the Tufian genetics, etc., right? When you look at the Natufian genetics, the EP2, the E1B1B, etc., whatnot, my subclade of E is nowhere in the vicinity. It's on a whole different branch of E, right? Now, my maternal grandfather is E1B1B, has a Natufian DNA, right? The EM34 whatnot. In either regard, I don't carry that paternal lineage. My paternal lineage is not Levantine. My paternal lineage is more Sahelian and whatnot, right? And you've heard me talk about this all the time. That, again, if you have a high autosomal connection to the people or whatnot, if you're coming up with high autosomal percentages to an Israelite group or whatnot, most likely you descend from somebody who had converts down the line somewhere. And the converts have just as much inheritance as Israel is tribal people. I don't discourage people. We don't discourage people from ever connecting to being converts, genetically or otherwise. And we've all said we have no issue being, again, we all consider ourselves to be first generation reverts. And proudly say it. No issue with it. None whatsoever. So please show me evidence. Don't tell me about it. Show me evidence for what you're talking about. Bryn, if you can hear this, I'm sure you're probably live right now, whatever. But Bryn, I tagged you in this one. If you can see this one, please put the video back up where Bryn or where Shaft of Bryn is breaking out his DNA. Because that's the only place that says that he can be making these accusations from. And again, nobody saw this happen. Nobody saw this happen. You falsely accuse us of being deceptive and being sent by the devil. If you have evidence for either or, please just produce it. Please just produce it. Whatever the deception is, and whatever evidence you have of us being sent by the devil, I would gratefully look that up. Again, in a video where you're mentioning my name again, and this whole stuff relevant to the first video I got linked down below. You falsely accused Mr. Blacktastic just a couple of weeks ago of calling you and others a cult. Not only did you falsely accuse him of it, like literally in the chat of your video, like you're all up in arms. Like, oh, you calling me a cult? If you tell you calling me, no one called them a cult. No one called you a cult. No one called the people you were talking about in that video a cult. But yet, still in the chat of your own video, the live chat, Dante is calling Blacktastic a cult and his people a cult. People he's rocking with a cult. You literally call YAP a cult months prior to this. Hold on, fam. Hold on, fam.
Okay, fair use.
You're very state.
And I'd like to use Abu as an example, right? Because Abu was talking about Abu came on my show and showed his DNA, etc.
1 second. Anybody a cult is them. We ain't got.
Hey, yo, Father God. Hey, yo, Wiggins, don't laugh at this, Wiggins. Hey, come on, bruh. You held in the Lord's church and you run around here laughing.
Bruh, I ain't got anybody a cult is them. Who comes up with a name called YAP? Period. We don't need a name. We're individuals. Cults are the ones that come together and need to put a name on them. Yeah, that's stupid. I don't need a name. I'm Suski, Teo is Teo, Dante is Dante, Kelly is Kelly. That's cults when you have to put a name behind you to call yourself a gang. I don't need a gang. I'm an individual. So if anybody a cult is this weird YAP group that it all of a sudden surfaced. Period. I'm remaining in peace with Berean. Let's keep it about the YAP, because the YAP ultimately is and Abu and all of them ultimately is the culprit. And I know I'm remaining in peace with Berean. Let's keep it about the YAP, because the YAP ultimately is and Abu and all of them ultimately is the culprit. And they're doing.
Let's get on the information. Stop manipulating. You said all them people over there fake. Get the business jumping, brother. I know who talk about me in them comment sections. I try to put me to the side. Trust me, we there. But y'all playing games. Y'all IT people, turn that thing on and put that work in. Stop acting stupid and deal with the information. Trying to be Christian, trying to put the link out there, trying to let people talk. Y'all stop manipulating these people, please, brothers. Just share the information. You talk race stuff and y'all whole white boys. That's all it is. Talk, share the truth, man. Just come out with the truth. If y'all got embarrassed, your DNA ain't right, it's okay. This is my thing. I don't understand what's wrong with talking. What's the beef with talking? What's the beef? If Israel ain't lying, if the history is truth, if the science is the truth, what are y'all scared of? Why are you trying to ban everybody else and put people in the echo chamber, let people with different opinions on? I've been doing this for years. Before I jumped online, we was in Sunday seminary with different positions. Why? What are they? I'm worried that they're said for a reason. That's all I'm saying. Stop all bringing up all that other stuff and get down to it. That's all I'm saying. Get down to it. If your business is the right, if it's the truth, it's gonna stand. I don't understand. All this is of all that other stuff. It's grandstand. Y'all, they sounded stupid right now. I see what this is about. Now they talking about YAP gang and all that. I see all the videos everybody putting about. I don't care about none of that. I see all of that. I care about talking. I care about talking.
Yeah. Continuing on. Yeah, you falsely accused Mr. Blacktastic of making some kind of alliance. It's the same thing, y'all. Like, again, same thing Taylor was doing to me, right? Same thing they was doing with YAP. we formed some unholy alliance with the Boo and with Garfield and with Beren, and to the point to where, check this out, we set Teo up by, check this out. This is how fantastically good we are at this joint, right? We was planning, we was like, yo, check this out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have Beren do a show, right? And then we're gonna have a Boo jump on the panel, which is him and Beren and whatnot. And we're gonna have a Boo entice. We're gonna have just talk about some stuff and entice Teo to come up, and just the way that Teo cannot resist, irresistible. And then once he's up there, Yeshub's gonna jump up there, and I'm gonna jump up there, and we're gonna make a Teo and whatnot start saying some craziness about the ABCs and haplogroups. We're gonna force him to say incorrect information and whatnot. That's how good we are, man. Cool. Just show me the receipts, fam. So here's the problem, right? Like, the reason why that's not believable is if your man's was that easy to manipulate, it literally would not take a plan like that to manipulate it. But secondarily, the problem with that is, you know what? They came on my joint and started singing the ABCs again. Like, yo. No one tricked them into it. Voluntarily started singing the ABCs with the haplogroups again. Anyway, again, sis, this is your record. This is what we know you for. And so, somebody who's I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say here now, because again, as someone who's marketing yourself as an apologist or whatnot, you're going to run into people who are going to start calling you out for this stuff. So it ain't going to be just me or someone from my crew. You're going to start running into this or whatnot, right? So ask people who who are debaters, like Yehukanan, people like Zadok, etc., whatnot. You know what I'm saying? People who aren't me, people who aren't part of the YAP gang, etc., whatnot. Ask them about these parts here. You know what I'm saying? Because this is your MO. This is your modus operandi. This is what you're known for at this juncture, right? Is these fallacies here: special pleading, false dichotomies, appealing to emotion, poisoning the well, ad hominems, and association fallacies. And there's more. I'm just going to leave them here for right now. I don't want to have to address more if I don't have to. But let's get into this, right? What's special pleading? So, applying standards, principles, and or rules to other people or circumstances while making oneself or certain circumstances exempt from the same critical criteria without providing adequate justification. Special pleading is often a result of strong emotional beliefs that interfere with reason. So, for instance, what's the case of special pleading? So, for instance, we heard you speaking on Clubhouse about the 400 years or whatnot, right? And somebody was bringing the argument to you about, or excuse me, you were making the argument that the 400-year prophecy couldn't apply to Egypt because the Israelites in Egypt weren't in captivity for the full 400 years, that they weren't not in slavery for the full 400 years or whatnot. And someone brought it back to you like, well, we weren't in slavery in America for the full 400 years either. And you try to sidestep the thing. That's special pleading, right? You try to apply the argument to someone else, but won't allow it to apply to you when it does apply, right? Without justification. Special pleading is you know what? I'll show a good example of that in a minute. Another example of that in a minute. Another one, I just showed one. Don't call me a cult, but you're going to call people a cult all day long, right? That's special pleading, sis. Next, we have a false dichotomy or a false dilemma, right? This is when only two choices are presented, yet more exist, or a spectrum of possible choices exist between two extremes. Very important, between two extremes. False dilemmas are usually characterized by either this or that language, but can also be characterized by omissions of choices. Another variety is the false trilemma, which is when three choices are presented when more exist. So, for instance, if you're calling them a cult, you're calling me a cult. If you're calling them false prophets, you're calling me false prophets. So, for instance, I can call out Teo and them, the Teo twins, for the false prediction that was made concerning the 400-year prophecy and the 2 years addendum that they put on that joint, right? If I'm specifically talking about them and the prophecy they made, and I particularly make videos to where, like when I consistently talk about this, I talk about the fact like I got people I love and respect from the War Machine that rock with the 400-year prophecy. I got people I love and respect, even a YAP gang that rock with the version of the 400-year, right? On both sides, they talk about a rolling 400-year prophecy concept. It's not one that y'all rock with. It's one that they rock with, right? And so I make it clear that I don't shoot at all 400-year prophecy concepts, right? I say they all need to be evaluated individually. And I have yet to evaluate my people's rolling 400-year concept because they have yet to present me a model. The moment they present me a model, I promise you I'm going to evaluate that joint too. But it's a false dichotomy to stipulate, or false dilemma to stipulate, if I am, and this is also a slippery slope fallacy, right? And I should have put this one in there because it's they're very similar in this, right? This is why I was saying I could put a lot more fallacies in here, right? But this is actually really close to a slippery slope fallacy in the sense where, like, if this, then that, right? And the false dilemma is either this or that. So either I can talk about the claim that Teo and them made and address it specifically, or I have to be talking about everybody. Like, that's a false, like, I could talk about Teo, I could talk about Dante, I could talk about a people individually, right? And not talk about Sister E, not talk about the people she mentioned, etc., right? And it becomes a slippery slope when it's if this, then that, right? To where if I attack Teo, then I'm attacking her. Like, no, that's a slippery slope. Man. And it's not an attack. And this is the cold part. It's all got to be framed as an attack. All got to be framed as an attack just because someone's addressing accountability. Accountability is not an attack, sis. And that's where we get into appeals to emotion. This is the general category of many fallacies that use emotion in place of reason in order to attempt to win the argument. It is a type of manipulation used in place of valid logic. It's an attack on the entire community. They're trying to stop the awakening. It's an appeal to emotion. It's a 100% appeal to emotion. You're trying to get away from the arguments actually being used. That's a fallacious argument, period, point blank. And it seems to be like the main thing you step in with. And no, I'm not Watch this. I'm not accusing you of being emotional because you're a woman. I'm saying that the arguments that you're using as an apologist are fallacious based upon appeals to emotion. There's nuance to that, right? That's the thing about false dilemmas or whatnot. You don't want to recognize nuance. We got to recognize the nuance, Finn. We got to slow it down and recognize the nuance. That's why I like dealing with people like Abu, etc. Does not make appeals to emotion. Slows down the nuance and check. And if he, no matter who you are, if he agrees with you, disagrees with you, he's going to represent your argument correctly. He's not going to say things about your argument you don't say. Mad respect for that. Ad hominem attacks. Attacking the person making the argument rather than the argument itself. When the attack on the person is completely irrelevant to the argument the person is making. I.e., we are the devil. We are sent by the devil. Okay. So let's say we were sent by the devil, right? And we're using the devil's arguments. How are you going to defeat the argument? As an apologist, how do you defeat the argument? That's the devil. That's the devil. Does that work? In a logical way? No. It's fallacious. It's 100% fallacious. And it's ineffective. So let's say I'm sent by the devil and I got an argument you're not addressing. Do you think that's effective? Whether I'm sent by the devil or not, it's not effective. And it does nothing to defeat the argument. If someone's lying, cool, proven to be a liar. That'll defeat the argument all day. If someone's making a bad argument, show them where it's bad. But saying that people are sent by the devil, that they're full of the devil, because they either have the nerve to disagree with you, or what's even possibly more likely is that they're saying something you might not understand completely. Like, that's not logically consistent. You wouldn't want somebody to treat you in that sense. They were like, okay, if you're misunderstanding me, you got to be a bad. If I'm misunderstanding something you're saying, right? You got to be the bad person. There's got to be a bad person because there's a misunderstanding. That's horrible logic. No, there doesn't have to be a bad person because there's misunderstanding. There could just be a legit misunderstanding. Two, if I misunderstand you, that makes you the bad person? No. That's not how that works. And we're too grown for that, right? We're mad too grown for this. Since we're both over 40, like, mad too old for this. Like, you're going to hear me address arguments. You're not going to hear me address. That's why I hate making videos like this, because people think that I'm attacking the person. Nope. I'm going to ask you to bring receipts. No, that's not me asking for accountability is not an attack. Me pointing out the fallacies you use, not an attack. You can disprove that. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to take it as an attack. But when you consistently misrepresent me and my peoples and whatnot and say stuff we're not saying, I'm definitely going to take that a certain kind of way. And if I shouldn't, break down why I shouldn't. Because I know if I was out here saying stuff about you that wasn't true, you'd be hot about it. You'd be hot about it. And expecting me not to be hot about it is special pleading. 100% special pleading. Poisoning the well. To commit a preemptive ad hominem attack against an opponent. That is to prime the audience with adverse information about the opponent from the start in an attempt to make your claim more acceptable or discount the credibility of your opponent's claim. They're deceptive, family. They're deceptive. We are the DNA deceivers. You got to watch out for us. That's poison in the well. In case you ever run into us, you can't pay attention to what they're saying. That's poison in the well, fam. You can't trust them. So if they start talking, you stick your fingers in here and go, la, 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 la. That's poison in the well, fam. So, lest you drink from our waters and get sick. Poisoning the well. Guilt by association. This is the interesting one. Like, again, like, oh, you got the nerve to talk to a Boo or a Garfield or somebody. Same people you've talked to before, right? When the source is viewed negatively because of its association with another person or group who is already viewed negatively. You know, like how you don't want people associating you with the extreme views of the camps, etc., whatnot. You don't want that guilt by association. Again, this is where the special pleading comes in. You apply that to other people, but again, you don't want it to apply to you. Like, so, or vice versa, excuse me. You apply it to yourself, but you don't want to apply it to other people. So, when you're accusing people of being in an alliance and whatnot, and the Tail Twins accuse people of making alliances with certain people and whatnot, right? It's all an attempt to discredit the argument and not deal with the argument. Not deal with it. If you haven't caught it, like, logical fallacy is like a way you're trying to figure out how to sidestep the argument instead of actually deal with it directly. Instead of dealing with it directly. Here are my humble requests for you, sis. Please show some receipts for any claim you've made concerning me or my peoples. Please show some receipts for any claim you've made. Please show us speaking versus you telling people what we said. Please don't mentally molest us anymore with this whole concept of you having to narrate what other people are saying. Like, you can't share a screen. Ain't no one gonna strike your page because you're telling somebody what we said. You're hearing me say it right now. YAP, it's not going to strike your page for you to playing what we said. That's you, Tayo, anybody. But what should not be tolerated is people having to play narrator to the thing. Let me tell you what they said versus show you what they said. No, you're trying to control the narrative at that point, sis. So please just show us saying what you're claiming we've said. Please stop using logical fallacies as a tactic against us. Just address what we're saying. And if you're not going to address what we're saying, please recognize your gaslighting situation. That's all you're doing. Is gaslighting situation. For the sake of being loyal to some weak dudes. Like, I respect Yermiah and his homie who came on your channel and took the 4-1 L to Zadok and Trilla and whatnot, right? You know why I respect them for that? Because they literally got their ideas tested. Battle tested. Pressure tested. And they did so on the clock. I actually respected you, sis, for not jumping in like you were doing with the debates with Ibri and the Tail Twins and whatnot, right? And actually just letting the clock be what it was, letting the judges be what it was. Mad respect for that. But that's not what the Twins are doing. They're not doing what Yermiah did. They're not doing what his partner did. They're not allowing their ideas to be battle tested. They're coming with these fallacious arguments. You're coming with these fallacious arguments, protecting them. Please actually address the arguments we present. Simple request. Please don't misrepresent our positions on the issue. It's fallacious at this juncture. So again, sis, either you're doing it because you know you're doing it, or you don't know what our positions are. It's one of the two. One of the two. If there's something in between, show it to me. I don't want to present a false dichotomy. I'm looking for another option. But you're telling me I can't, you're going to take it personal if I tell you don't know. So I got to assume you know at that junction. I would like to think you don't know our positions. You're mischaracterizing them on accident, out of ignorance. Ignorance can be cured, not an issue. In intentional deception, that's got to get dealt with a different way. Please open up your panel for real dialogue on the issues. Just like you did with that debate. The last time we talked on the phone, you said you did not want to open up your panel for that stuff. We couldn't talk about the pews. Apparently, me and the twins can't talk about DNA, but they can talk about us, etc. No, open it up, fam. And if you don't want to bring us on, cool. Just stop being one-sided about the stuff, fam. Just stop being one-sided about the stuff. Please stop trying to silence conversations and dialogues. Stop the madness on this whole secret society stuff. Like, let's try to take the conversations off air and let's talk off it, because you're not going to talk off air. Just like you didn't call me when you started going on a campaign about when you went on my channel and said I wasn't wrong, and then out of nowhere I gotta be all kind of crazy stuff because your people are looking silly out here. That you don't want to tell them they look silly. You got to be loyal to them. So that means you got to go shoot at people that don't need to be shot at. You got to go make yourself look uncredible just to go be loyal. Because again, in a 24-hour joint, like back to back, my channel, Moore didn't do anything wrong. Your channel, Brand's channel, whole different story. So which one do I believe? Which sister do I believe? And again, just if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, again, you can show receipts on it. I'll gladly take the correction. But people deserve to have dialogues on a lot of this stuff. Because y'all like to say a lot of names and do a lot of indirects and all kind of stuff or whatnot, but don't want to actually have the full dialogue. Nah. If you can show me Israel being a secret society and this girl's cool. But Israel's not some secret society like you're trying to make it, fam. At all. At all. Trying to stifle dialogue is ridiculous. You're trying to stifle thought. Again, this is why people talk about cult behavior. At that juncture, when you're stifling dialogue, you're trying to tell people what to think. Instead of encouraging them to think for themselves. Please pay attention to this one, sis. Please stop being a strong woman taking up for weak men. Please stop being a strong woman taking up for weak men. That is such a gross misuse of your strength. It is such a gross misuse of your strength. There's a lot I could say about it, but I really don't need to. It speaks for itself. And the moment you hear me say it, sis, you can feel it. You can feel it. You know what it is. So without belaboring it, please stop being a strong woman taking up for weak men. Please stop treating accountability as an attack on all Israel. Accountability is not an attack. Accountability is actually how you get stronger as a group of people, as a nation, etc. Right? If you believe in nation building, if you believe in the concept of the nation of Israel, whatnot. You and I have grossly different ideas of what that looks like. For you and yours, that's like a Negro-only concept. That's not how it looks like for me, right? Y'all got the Negro-only concept, and Gentiles are allowed to be your servants in the joint. Cool, got you. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me, right? If I'm wrong on that, please correct me. But either or, we believe in some form of nation building, right? I think we do agree on that concept. Accountability is not an attack on nation building. Accountability is how you temper the metal of the nation, how you make it stronger. Please stop acting like your clique is all of Israel, because it's not. It is not. Like you're running into now, an issue that you're running into is like you're finding out, there's people that were here before y'all. Like, even the one Westers were here before y'all, right? I don't rock with them. But y'all are on some post-Darbyite type stuff, right? That's not everybody. Not everybody comes from the Darbyite wing of this joint. Just like everybody don't come from the camps. Just like everybody don't come from the camps. Y'all are Darbyites, cool. No issue with that. But y'all aren't the whole of the diaspora. Y'all aren't the whole of the spectrum. And it's a bit devious to pretend otherwise. Please admit that you practice scholastic hypergamy. Like this one, I'm calling out because this is for me and mine. It needs to get called out, right? What do I mean by scholastic hypergamy? I'm sure I don't got to break down hypergamy because I'm sure y'all in modern times and hearing the modern conversation about the manosphere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, people know what time it is with that, right? But I'm just gonna break it down like this. It's like scholastically marrying up if you can, right? So again, like, let's stop pretending that, like, for instance, when you had me come on your channel and defend the Lemba DNA, right? One more time, you did not have the tail twins do that. You did not have the tail twins do that. So on some level, you understand that what they're saying on DNA, nah. It doesn't, it's not like you rock with them on certain things, but you can't rock with them on the, like you rock with them on the prophecy stuff, but when it comes to this scholastic stuff, nah, you can't really rock. And you know that, so you don't put them in that position. What do? You scholastically marry up in that situation because you can't. You had other people come on that could talk about the DNA, deal with the DNA. Just like how the tail twins are nowhere to be found, completely MIA when Damon Richardson is making a challenge to the entirety of the Israelite community about any genetic claims they got, including this whole Khazar joint that they want to push. Silent on the joint, fam. YAP doesn't agree with the Khazar joint. What do? We go down and shut the thing down on portion 2 using what autosomal DNA that Taylor and them accuse us of not using, even though, again, the record's verified that you're there for this too, sis. One more time, you're on the video for this. You're on the panel for this joint. Ebri and Shar breakdown. No, YAP uses autosomal and haplogroup DNA. Oh, snap. And that's why you have to adhere to scholastic hypergamy. So when it comes to YAP, the scholarship's better. So, I mean, it just is what it is. These are my humble requests to you and the Taylor twins, right? Please be consistent. If you take issue with YAP having a haplogroup model that says Shem is DE and Israel would be a subclade of E, then take issue with Benaiah Israel for saying that the haplogroup of Israel is E1B1A. That's your man's. Y'all be on panel with him and got no issue. None whatsoever. He takes it a step beyond what YAP takes it. And what he says, again, E1B1A is the Israelite haplogroup. Again, that's discount. You, me, Dante. But further yet still, take issue with Pastor Darby. Again, y'all come out of his camp. I can go to the Tail Twins joint right now and see a playlist for Darby for a bunch of Darby videos or whatnot. I can go to Sister E's channel. I can see videos of her taking up for Pastor Darby. She was just talking about Darby a couple of weeks ago in the video. She was saying my name. Not only did he say E1B1A was Israel, he said the E1B1B was him. Again, like, not only are me and Dante not Israel, right? But Dante's him, based upon Darby's joint, right? In both cases, Benaiah and Pastor Darby are excluding people from being part of Israel based on haplogroups. YAP does not do that. One more time. In both cases, Benaiah and Pastor Darby are excluding people from being part of Israel based on haplogroup. YAP does not do that. Including the 1/3 of African-American males that don't carry E1B1A, such as the Tail twins, Dante, myself, James Kinsell, part of YAP. YAP 9 is in the building. Elkin, part of YAP. YAP 9 in the building. Alazar, 93, etc. All of them, including myself, not E1B1A, fam. So we don't even get as specific as Darby or Benaiah. But y'all are good with both of them. and literally idolize one of them. I promise you, just because I said Darby's name, sister, you're gonna have something to say about it. But when you calm down, sis, recognize what I'm saying. I'm saying be consistent. Be consistent. If you're gonna take issue with us having a haplogroup model, then take issue with Benaiah having one. Take issue with Darby having it, all that type of stuff, right? And when you're doing so, tell Taylor that you were hollering at me and you're hooking on other people trying to find out like what's up with your haplogroup and whatnot. What can you find out about your haplogroup? Again, that's what I mean. Like private conversations. That's what I mean by scholastic hypergamy. Also, please be honest about our stance on autosomal DNA and converts also being Israel. If you're going to talk about us, please don't misrepresent the thing. Like, again, like I was saying about Abu is not going to talk about somebody he disagrees with and misrepresent their view. That's respectable. I'm asking the same for you, sis. I'm going to do my best to do the same thing. I'm going to do my best to do the same thing. Bring Yeshub and I up to debate Tay and Yacoba on the best method to show paternal descent over millennia, autosomal DNA or haplogroups. Now, here's what can't happen, right? The twins can't consistently hide behind this fake lame excuse of, oh, we don't use DNA to say who's Israel. No, you literally just said that you have to have, go back on their lives. They literally just said you have Negro DNA. You have to have Negro DNA. Negro autosomes and alleles to be specific. Negro phenotype, the alleles to make the phenotype specifically in order to be Israel. So again, the consistent conversation has been, well, how do you use that method to track paternal descent over millennia? And that's where they start skating on banana peels and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And that's where people like you come in to defend them because they start saying outlandish nonsense that they can't defend. And you know they can't defend it, which is why you do things like call me up to ask me about your haplogroup. Why you do things that have like me and mine come through to defend the haplogroups of the limba. And you know what? Check this out. Don't got to be on your joint if you don't want either. You know what I'm saying? Like the same debate can be had on the source debate. Like you said, says you're not cool with Yeshua, but you're cool with Yirmiyahu with that, right? The source is down the middle. That's neutral territory. Also, debate talk for you, neutral territory. There is no biases on debate talk for you. But there's no reason not to have these debates and dialogues at this juncture. Because at this juncture, you're consistently misrepresenting what we say and are taking any correction as an attack. That's fallacious. That's 100% fallacious. %. Man, hold on. Right on time, sis. Man. Tisk, tisk, tisk. 100% fallacious. So I'm gonna let me look at some of these. You know what? I'm gonna play a video real quick. Cause like I said, y'all are Darbyites, right? You got the One West Cats, the Camp Splinters and whatnot. You got that whole crew. And then I'm not going to call y'all moderates because y'all aren't moderate. Y'all are just as extreme as the camps, fam. I'm not going to call you moderate. That's ridiculous at this juncture. I'm going to call you what y'all, your Darbyites. I was listening to Darby talk about DNA. I was like, you know what? This is where y'all got all you. Okay, I see what it is. See what it is. So, but I need you to take your set. Like, you're not going to shoot up a knife. You're not going to shoot a dog. Got you. Got you. But if you don't, and you keep shooting at us, it's going to show you to be hypocritical, fam. Hold on, fam. Where did you go?
Because I got to give you another witness so you know I ain't just coming off the blue. Because I told you I wasn't even receiving stuff until I got definitive proof. Amen. I said definitive proof. Amen. Now, I told y'all DNA is, you can't beat it. Amen. If you ever go to court, you want DNA proof. Amen. You hear what I'm saying? DNA will get you, set you free. Now, let me give you a little bit of understanding. Well, y'all know what DNA is. I mean, you kind of understand. I ain't going to go deep into the concepts of DNA, but you know what it is. It means your genetic code. It means they can tell if you've been there or not. They can find out whether you've been there. Y'all heard what I'm saying? Is this too much? Now, this is what my daughter did. She went and did it for me because the DNA passes down from your father. That's why the Bible said the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the bloodline comes from your daddy. So the seed will come from me. All the seeds, all the bloodline comes from the father. So the DNA that's passed all the way back to the original man came through my father's side. Now, this is what I want to show y'all because this is where Stisha did a DNA test, which she would have my DNA. You got what I'm saying? Now, I know it's kind of small, it's hard for y'all to see it, but basically, this is what the DNA tells us when African Americans do the DNA swab and find out what our DNA test is. It says that 80% Africa. Now, if you look at the map, it's saying where we come from, which is right in where Nigeria is. Right where Nigeria and Ghana and Congo, right on that horn of Africa, right on that curve, which is accurate. It's actually accurate. Now, I'm going to show y'all why they say we were Africans. Because this is where you got to really put your thinking on right here. They said we were Africans. So now listen, your DNA is going to go back to a people group that was from that area. So that means if your people was in this area for any length of time, your DNA is going to go back there. And the problem is the DNA of the African American doesn't really fit in Africa. But it goes back to Africa because that's the only place that they saw us at was in Africa. Because we were in Africa at one time. Because remember I said in 70 AD, we fled from Jerusalem down through, it says we went down through Sudan, through Ethiopia. We kept going down to Africa, to the west, y'all got what I'm saying? So this would be my DNA in my family. This is on my father's side. This is what our makeup is. So if you see it's 80% African, which is basically a surety we're from the continent of Africa. And it's telling us the most concentrated place is right there on that horn of Africa. Now, I'm gonna get a little deep on y'all, so keep your mind up. Amen. Don't put your hungry mind down. When your mind is hungry, you tend to wander because your stomach is talking. I'm trying to help. This is deep. If you get this, man, I'm telling you, it's gonna change who you how you see yourself. Now, let me explain this. DNA haplotype is genetics. Haplotype is a combination of closely linked DNA sequences on one chromosome that are often inherited together. That means when they look at your chromosome, they're looking for a certain type that's on your chromosome so they can identify, right? Now,
please pay attention, family. This is not me forcing Darby to say this posthumously, right? This is your man. This ain't my presentation. This is your man's presentation. DNA haplotype. Genetics, a combination of closely linked DNA sequences on one chromosome that are often inherited together, etc. DNA haplotype. Genetics, a set of similar haplotypes inherited together, or a group who shares a set of similar haplotypes used to understand genetic lineage. This is not my presentation. This is Darby's presentation from years ago, fam.
DNA haplogroup is a set of similar haplotypes inherited together, or a group who shares a set of similar haplotypes used to understand genetic lineages. In other words, the group is based, all have the same haplotype. That's how you find out. So what they have done, what DNA is, they went all over the world, every people group, they took their DNA, and that's why when you go and get your DNA, they already got people's DNA already mapped out everywhere in the world, so they know whatever your DNA come up, whatever your code is, they already got it on file. And they say, okay, this is where you're from, and ain't no way to beat it. Ain't no way to beat that. So that's definitive. Say definitive proof. Okay, so our DNA. Now what I'm going to show y'all is our haplogroup of African Americans is all the same. So you go get your own DNA test, but it's all the same, because they found out that the African American haplogroup is the same. Not like Africans. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give it to you so you look it up for yourself. Now let me show you. Genetic group. Our haplogroup is E1B1A. That's what your African American haplogroup would be, right? You got that? This haplogroup is found predominantly among the Bantu Negro, descended to include but not limited to the African Limba, West African tribes, Igbo, remember that's very important, Igbo Jews in Africa, African Americans, West Indians, Brazilians, Haitians, and other Negro-influenced races throughout the Caribbean and scattered across different nations. Contrary to false gender reporting, this is not sub-Saharan or Hamitic haplogroup. It is Semitic. That's everything. I just told you everything. That means it's not Hamitic, so that Ham is where you get the Africans from. Kush, Ethiopia, Mizraim, Egypt. It's saying we're not from them. We're not from sub-Saharan Africa. We're Semitic. This is telling you you're not of saying you're not of Ham, you're of Shem. Oh, this is if you are why is what I'm telling y'all, why is this grouping important? Because there are people, the Bantus, which is now the Limba tribe in Africa right now, a million of them, still original Hebrews that did not leave Africa. Remember, they ran out of Jerusalem, down to Africa, they still over practicing Judaism. They know exactly who they are. They took their DNA and found out that their DNA is not, now, the African DNA is E1B1B. That's African DNA. But the Shemite DNA is E1B1A. So the Limba tribe in Africa, that's Jews. They know they Jews, no doubt about it. They're
real quick, so anybody who's used to listening to the YAP will quickly catch that what he's saying cannot be correct in the sense to where that Ham and Shem, in terms of like having like different like, so the E1B1A and E1B1B, like it being split like that, it's not going to be quite like that unless he's going with like an EP2 model of Abraham, of Noah, etc., whatnot, right? Which should be extremely, extremely interesting if he did such. Just saying.
E1B1A, which means that E1B1A. Now, why is it important? Because they knew they had DNA from Aaron, Moses' brother. Moses' brother was the Levites. Y'all got that? Moses' brother DNA, Aaron, they know is E1B1A. Now, if Moses' brother, which means he got that DNA from his father, so that means that's what Moses' DNA was. So the children of Israel, that's their DNA. Just let it sink in. This stuff could never be known until the last days. There wasn't enough technology to find out. That's why I said I didn't just go off of what was written. I said, no, I want definitive proof. There got to be a way to prove it. I just proved it. I'll go further. Now, let me bless you with this. Now, Negroes have been identified as being exempt from the bloodline of Ham by the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, this haplogroup represents the Y DNA of Jacob, the father of 12 tribes. And this is Dr. Yusha Benjamin, who did a book study on this. Now, the Zondervan, now this blew my mind because I saw it. I couldn't believe this. In the Zondervan Dictionary, Bible Dictionary, I read this and didn't know why. Now, they knew this hundreds of years ago. The definition of Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. They said that's the definition in the Bible Dictionary. They saying he's not the father of the Negroes. They know this. They know who you are. Don't y'all know they know who you are? That's why they doing you like that. But he is of the Egyptians, Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. That's Ham's descendants. But they said not the Negro. The Negro comes from the word Niger. That's where we ran to. Now we came out. Now the Igbos in Nigeria are still Igbo Jews, still practicing Judaism. They're still in the same place, and that's why our DNA goes.
So I want y'all to pay attention. Like, if you're not familiar with Darby, you're gonna hear a lot of wow, this sounds familiar. Like, I feel like I've heard this before coming out the mouth of all these people I listen to right now. Yeah, they're Darbyites, fam. You're gonna hear a lot like he's their spiritual father in a lot of ways. You're gonna hear a lot of familiar arguments coming out of this man's mouth prior to you having heard them.
Goes back to Nigeria. But our DNA doesn't fit Africa. This is too much. Y'all ain't ready for me. I'm too deep. Listen, y'all heard what I'm trying to tell y'all. All your life, they telling you're African. But your DNA, if you go get your DNA and your haplogroup is E1B1A, then that means that's the same DNA of the Levites. The Levites are not African. Those are Hebrews. You got what I'm saying? The African DNA is E1B1B, which is Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, Canaanites. Now, the reason why they're going to put your lineage, when we go get it from Nigeria, is because that's where we ran from. And that's why those same Jewish people, Africans, are still, those same Jewish Hebrews are still in Africa practicing Judaism today. And they'll tell you, we ain't lost. They'll tell you, we ain't lost. Y'all lost. We ain't lost. We know who we are. We still doing what we were doing. And that's why the white Jews try to cover them up, because they know them people got the correct Cohen. It's called Cohen DNA, which is Aaron's DNA. Now those white Jews got European DNA. But they try to lie and say they had Middle East DNA. But we know it's a lie. Come on, can y'all handle this? Come on, it's helping y'all, ain't it? Come on, that's 2 witnesses are engaged. Come on, 2 witnesses. 2 witnesses. Now you study it for yourself. Now, let me keep going. The curse of Ham lie came from the Jewish Talmud that stated that Noah cursed Ham, his descendants, with dark skin, which is a lie. The curse was on Canaan, and they all had dark skin. So now that's important for you to know. So you don't get twisted up on the dark skin, because we all had dark skin. So Shem looked like Ham, just like Judah looks like Levi. They had the same. Judah and Levi got the same mother and father. So if Levi has if Levi has E1B1A DNA, then so does Judah. Are y'all there? Come on, let me keep going. The original definition for Negro proved Negroes were from the Bantu tribe. That was in the dictionary. If you can look up the original definition, it tells you Niger from the Bantu tribe. And the historians didn't know. What they didn't know is that the Bantus are Hebrews. They practice in Hebrews. They ain't been nothing but Hebrews. We are not Hamitic, which is that DNA. We are Shemitic. Your DNA does not fit Africans. That's why a lot of Africans don't like you. See, when they say Semite, they talking about Shemite. And they ain't Shemites. Your DNA goes back to Shemites, which is Aaron. Now, if you go now, all you got to do is do this little swab DNA test, and you'll get your whole haplogroup, and it'll tell you. But African Americans, every African American that gets their DNA as in this group. Why? Because we all came from the same place, slaves. Yeah. See, what y'all don't understand is they didn't go in Africa picking cats. They didn't just go randomly. They picked a people. There was a certain people in Africa that they knew didn't belong in Africa, and the Africans turned them over. Me and my wife was watching a documentary where it was Africans saying, we know we sold them. We sold them. They wasn't our people. They had no concern for us. And see, we thinking that we Africans, so why when we keep going over there looking for them, they looking at us like, man, we don't know y'all. They sold us out of jealousy. We were over there practicing Judaism over there while they over there worshiping idols and doing demon stuff. So they said, these people down here, they sing different, they praise different. We don't want them in our land. And we were on the run. The Romans was after us, man, chasing us out of Israel on down through. And why did we go to Africa? To blend in. Why did Jesus go to Africa? To blend in. Why did Moses go to Egypt? To blend in. These are black people going around black people to blend in. The whole Bible is black people. It ain't white people. It ain't. I'll deal with Edom later one another time. This is the Limba tribe. These are them right now. This them over practicing same Judaism. And the DNA has been taken. They have the this is what I'm talking about. The Cohen DNA in the Torah. This ancestors identified as Aaron, the brother of Moses. That tribe has Levite DNA. Y'all got that? Remember, the DNA comes from your daddy. So if Aaron had it, if Aaron had it, then everybody that passed that the Hebrews come from there has that same DNA. And we know that DNA is E1B1A, which is what we have. Do y'all catch what I'm saying? If you really get what I'm telling you, you'd understand why we have been the way we've been. 400 years and still suffering, struggling, still barely getting somewhere, still falling down, still the bottom of the barrel. Everybody comes over here, get up above us. We ain't got nothing. Yeah. Your enemy know who you are. Your enemy know who you are. Let me go further. I know I'm still. Oh, dang. Somebody had to read that. Okay. The Limba DNA says that they are descendants from the tribe of Levi, which Judah had the same mother and father, and we have the same haplogroup. That's what it's saying. Now, this is a map of West African slave routes, and if you can see, I know it's hard for y'all to see it, but do you see where the slaves came from? The Horn of Africa. Not just where Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon. That's where now when I went to Nigeria, I told my wife, when I went to Uganda, I ain't feel nothing for them cats. When I went to South Africa, I didn't feel no connection with them. But when I went to Nigeria, them cats are like us. They look like us. You be shocked how you be like, dang, dude, they look just like, they act like us. Their expression is like ours. And I didn't feel that with no other Africans, but with them, it was just like something was there. And that's the benefits of traveling. That's how I knew that. So I can prove that just by traveling. But this is where we left from. We came out of that horn. Now you got to realize those Africans are the ones that rounded us up, gave us to the Arabs, and then the Arabs gave us to the Jews. The Jews are the one that sold us. They the one owned the ships and was a slave. So manned the ships. They went over and got us. They lie about that. They was the biggest slave owners. They went over and found out there's the people they faking to be are really over here in this land. What do you think they're going to do? We trying to be y'all. We're going to get y'all enslaved. We're going to take y'all out of here and destroy y'all name and make y'all not know who y'all are. Because we are y'all. Keep going. This is just another one to show you the African migration from Israel down Ethiopia, South Africa. Did you know I can show you. I don't have time to take you there. But the South Africans are a tribe of the South Africans. The Zulus are the tribe of Gad. The Zulus. I can take y'all to a scripture that shows you that it says that the troops are going to overcome them, but then at the end, the Gad is going to overcome those troops. They the only tribe that own their land. They the only tribe that kicked white folk out. South Africa, they totally took back over their government. And that was the Zulus that did that. I ain't got time to take y'all there. But anyway, but it shows you how this was my whole problem till I read from Babylon to Timbuktu, was a book that this doctor wrote. Because I didn't understand how do you get from Israel to America? How did that happen? And I realized 70 AD destruction of the temple is what did it. We ran out of Israel, running, trying to blend in with the inhabitants. And we ran through Egypt. Now, they persecuting you the whole way because you're not African. So they pushing you, persecuting you. So we settled down in Nigeria and around Ghana, and then they came in and found us there and took us up out of there. Okay, y'all there? Is this? Do y'all got this so far?
So that's straight from the horse's mouth. Like, he got the Limba stuff wrong all day. Like, and no disrespect on that, because you could tell he was just getting into the DNA conversation and whatnot, and so I don't expect him to know the ins and outs and all that type of stuff, like about what the Cohen modal haplotypes were, what the Cohen haplotypes were, or what the Limba haplotypes were. Like again, I don't expect him to know that there were the Limba have 12, 13 different haplogroups or whatnot. I don't expect him to know that the people he were talking about, they weren't testing majority E, they were testing more J. Not that they don't test E, they do have E in a good chunk. They're just more J, etc. But you kept hearing him talking. He made the haplogroup argument, and he was definitely making the haplogroup argument for haplogroup E1B1A, and making the argument that it was Shemitic, and make the argument like you get your DNA from your daddy, whatnot, right? You can also hear where a lot of people like telling them got their beginnings when it came to DNA. And where the general claims are being made, like all African Americans are even doing it. Nope, not the case. And I promise you, telling them thought they were going to be, they assumed they were going to be E1B1A when they took their DNA test. I promise you, they were shocked to find out they were G. I promise you. They were shocked to find out that they were probably haplogroup H. Right? I'm shocked that somebody would actually say that all, like you would like it. It's obvious that not all are going to be the same. Just when you count slavery interactions and whatnot, much less finding out later on after that there's different haplogroups coming from the continent and whatnot. But yet and still herein lies the point. So if you're going to take issue with YAP having a haplogroup model, right, of any sort, you got to take issue with your mans. You got to take issue with your mans. I mean, yo, where am I on this thing? Yep. So this here is a playlist from Tail Ministries. It's a 22 video playlist. Important messages from Pastor Darby. You see that, fam? So that's your man's I just played, all right? So explain to me how you went at him for that, for the haplogroup model, or Benai, etc., right? Because I haven't seen that. But this is your man's. Whole playlist about your man. Whole playlist. And once you understand the playlist, you can see where people get their foundation from, right? Again, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, etc. We can see where people are getting their foundation from, right? Because we can see where the tail tunes come from. $6 years ago, 5 years ago, etc. When you start listening to them, you hear all the Dante stuff, you hear all the We Woke Now stuff, all that, all the Benai stuff. You hear the Weeda is Judah, all that, all that. Darbyites, no issue with it though, right? Because I'm going to deal with you based upon the arguments you make. If you make a scriptural argument, I'm going to go to the scrolls. You make a scientific argument, we're going to the science, right? I'm not going to gaslight you because you're a Darbyite. I'm not going to throw ad homs because you're a Darbyite. Just like I don't do the same thing. I don't throw ad homs at the camps for being part of the camps. I understand how a lot of y'all could have become Darbyites, fam. Very understandable. But again, like I said, just recognize y'all aren't the whole. Don't be offended when people try to hold you accountable. And don't act like accountability on your arguments is an attack on the entirety of the nation. Because that's just fallacious at the core. But with that, fam, I ran up on 2 hours. I'm not trying to keep y'all here all day. I appreciate y'all very, very much. We got the link for the YAP Gang Scholarship channel down below. Don't forget to check out my channel, The Orthodox Moor, Yeshua's channel, Genesis 49ers, Ru Ibn Haddad, a.k.a. the resident rabbi, a.k.a. the Balkan bully, whatnot. Check out the Hebrew Israel. Check out Shari Anaya. Appreciate y'all for coming through. And again, sis, like this is nothing personal. Just like I was sending people to your channel the other day for promotion for your joint. I got no issue doing that again in the future because it's not a personal thing, right? But it's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. So with that, family, I say peace and love.
I'm telling you to be careful of the snakes. Because Abu is a snake beyond all snakes. He's the devil. I do not care for Abu, and I don't care if he is watching. He is very crafty. You have to be careful with him. He's dishonest. He is you can't I've never trusted Abu. And I see what I'm going to say, Akiris. YAP is a joke. They are deceptive. And they are
come
full
on,
of the
Sister
devil.
E. You know I'm with you on
devil
that.
sent them. You know I ain't scared. The thing is, they think because I've been silent.
Everybody can't be the devil. Everybody can't be an agent just because they questioning you, just because they disagree. Everybody can't be a devil. It's do you agree with that? It's impossible.
In this life, I earned it. No white man, no black man, no Jew man gon' stop me or block me or mock me. Just watch me. I came back like the Mach D. Harder than government block cheese. Push button, no car keys. This art form is a part of me. This world so cold, my heart freeze. Unthaw me, Lord. Even when I didn't realize it, you still saw me, Lord. My prayers that the brotherhood can get on one accord. Cause we cannot afford anyone sowing seeds of discord.